just a heads up that first of all, this is part 6 of my summer behind the scenes series on this podcast. This is not the typical content that I usually put out there, and I'm doing something different here for the summer in case this is your first episode of Compassionate Side Hustle Strategy. But more importantly, second of all, this episode might be a little explicit. So I always mark my podcasts as explicit because I know that I'll let a curse word out there, unexpectedly every once in a while. This is one of those. So it's been kind of a shit week. And all of it was out of my control. And a lot of it is also probably being experienced by people like you and people like us because of the fantastic Supreme Court, rulings and all of these stupid things that are happening in the United States. And so it's hard to keep myself focused because I know that when things like this happen, there's literally nothing we can do immediately, right? I mean, like, we can be reactive and do things like donate, sign things, share things on the internet. Like, unfortunately, I follow a lot of cause-driven and politically savvy or politically aware accounts, which is nice because then I feel like they actually care about something. But at the same time, days like today, my entire feed is just full of hurting people in pain, people angry, people trying to tell other people how terrible this is. And it's really wearing me down. So that's part of it. On a personal note, I had a rough week because, I think this is just like the low after getting a lot of work done, which I'll get to because I did get some nice things going this week since the last time I checked in with you. But if you didn't know, I have 3 cats, and I love them. And I chose this lifestyle of being a cat mom of 3 cats at my age. But of course it comes with its challenges, right? And so my oldest, who is 15, I've had her since college. I got her in Oregon. And, we were there as roommates, and then we came here back to California where my family is, and she integrated into my household. And she, when some animals just have that kind of attitude and they just have a way of living their life, she has shown me over her life that she's going to choose how she lives. and it's just one of those things where the gist of it is that this week, I literally thought she was dying. I was like, my elderly cat is dying. She's hiding and she's, laying down and she looks like she's really gonna die. And so I was sitting there tearing up. I'm not a crier, but I was tearing up and I was thanking her and I was praying for her and myself and all the things that you do when you think your pet's going to die. And obviously you can probably tell from my tone that she didn't die because she's just that kind of cat. I guess she just wanted to be mopey one day because now she's okay. I don't know. I think that she probably fakes things. And it's just really something to have animals who do that. Because it's not I wouldn't dare compare having an animal, a pet, to having a kid, but boy, the things that you deal with when you're irresponsible for another living thing. But anyway, let's get back to what I'm working on. The workbook really did come together. I went ahead and stopped myself. I designed the cover, I did final touches on the interior. And then I stopped myself before I started nitpicking at things because there are definitely things in this workbook, in the layout, in the design, possibly in the content that I could kind of bump up from an A- to an A+, if you know what I mean. But I forced myself to stop. And the way that I got myself to stop, because there's no one to actually stop me, right? I'm the one making the decision. I am the design team. I am the copywriting team. And the way that I told myself to stop is that I got it printed. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's a book not publishing, I don't know. It's like a book selling platform called Lulu, Lulu. And I've been following them for a while. I don't know a ton about them, but I did like the information that I got when I requested info on their book printing services. And so I went ahead and put my workbook in there and ordered myself a copy. So it's going to come in the mail. It's going to be spiral bound. It's going to be in color with a glossy cover and all of that fancy stuff. And the reason I did that is because I want, I want a printed copy. And of course, I did design it so that you could print it out at home, like most digital products. But I just wanted it to look super official. And especially since I plan on selling it. And so it'll be just really nice for me to hold up an actual book. And on top of that, I might include some kind of option to get a professionally printed copy in the mail versus printing it yourself at home or at Staples or, wherever people print their stuff nowadays. I know that I'm in the minority and that I have my own printer and a lot of people don't have printers now. And so I want to be conscious of that. And I also, I don't know, decisions need to be made around that. But I'm just really happy that I decided to get it printed. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh, can't. I mean, I can do whatever I want, but I can't, if I want it to be accurate when I'm showing my previews or mentioning it or holding it up or taking pictures of it, then I know that I shouldn't be making changes. The changes can be easy to make. And if there are any that are kind of superficial and just need to be changed real quick, then that's fine. But I really am trying to make this some kind of version of actually publishing workbook where I don't get to just sign on real quick and make little changes. And I almost went the route of actually getting an ISBN and making it a book available everywhere. But I'm not quite ready for that. I would rather wait until later on, but I think that that's coming up. That'll probably happen next year. So another thing on my mind is, of course, the Supreme Court bullshit that just happened and how I can, first of all, work through it on my own because I personally am not individually affected by it. And I don't think anyone really is right now. I mean, unless you're a person who is from a marginalized community who's literally on the yes or no list at Harvard or wherever it is, then it really does affect people, certain people right now. But for me personally, here in my office and deciding on the next things that I'm going to do for the next few weeks, it doesn't affect me immediately, but it does make me think a lot about what I stand for and what I want my business to be about and what I want my brand to actually be standing for in the long run. And a lot of that I've worked through fairly recently through my workbook. But at the same time, I don't know. I think for me, it's just a wake up call that I really do need to start saying the things that I want to say from, a thought leader or business owner standpoint, rather than doing things that I think I need to do before I talk about the important stuff. The important stuff for me being that business is kind of shisty, especially all these, I love small businesses. I think that a lot of people have potential. I think there are probably a lot of small businesses just with how easy it is to start a business, get a business license, get all the forms and everything together. And the fact that you don't really need that much to technically have a business. But I think that we also take advantage of that. And so I'm wondering, I know that for me, the goal is to become a registered B Corp because I really don't want to fall into the trap of everything being about the money. And unfortunately, the way that our business culture, just entrepreneurship in general in this country is, we're all just, everyone wants to make all that money. And the only way that you're impressive and the only way that you can sell is if you say and prove that you've made all that money. And I would really prefer that more people talk about what you can do with money, the power that you have when you have a lot of it versus when you don't have a lot of it, and how when you have a business, that puts the power in your own hands. If we all learned how to make money on our own legally and, through a business that can scale, that can, that can appear on shows and get lots of news and press, then I think that it would solve a lot of problems. And I think that that's probably also why a lot of people start businesses. Not everyone. There are definitely some people who like to just like side hustle and hustle all the way through, which is not what I'm about, which should be obvious by now. But I think that a lot of people do want to do really good work with their business and they see the bigger vision, but they struggle with the in between steps. And so that's what's on my mind this week, just trying to figure out how I can really give myself support, like mostly emotional support right now, but keeping in mind that I am still working on something and the work that I've already been doing has meaning and it has value and it's not any less important just because we have some corrupt people in our government. But anyway, that's my update. I almost didn't do this update and I was like, maybe I'm just going to skip it this week. But you know what? It doesn't take that much time just let everyone know what I'm thinking and what's going on. But man, this sucks. Like most of the time, my job is cool. And then sometimes it just really sucks. So I hope that you're doing okay. I hope that you're not too personally affected by all of the Supreme Court bullshit and that you have people around you that can support you. And if you don't, then, this is for you. This is, me doing the work that I'm doing and worrying about people and trying to just like be, I don't know, find my own level of peace while terrible things are happening. It's on behalf of people who don't have extended family or a whole support system and a circle that they can rely on when they're feeling pretty crappy, which I think a lot of people are feeling this week. So please take care of yourself. Please rest, go to sleep if you can, and then you'll know when you're ready. And when you're ready, then you can get up and you can say, okay, let's see what we can do. Because I don't think that we're helpless in this, obviously. Like there are lots of people and organizations and nonprofits and, political groups that are doing good work. And I think that, as usual, it's a call to action. But take care of yourself first. And then when you're ready, come and step forward and do some good work. So that's it for this week. I will see you next week, hopefully in a better mood. But yeah, take care of yourself and I'll see you.